Brawlhalla is a 2D Smash-style fighting game with a cartoony fantasy theme. You can play matches either online or locally with up to 8 people, and an assortment of different maps and modes. Currently there are over 40 characters in the game. Every character has slightly different characteristics and abilities, but they are much more similar to one another than in a game like Super Smash Bros. All these different characters can either be played via a weekly rotation, unlocked with currency earned in-game, or purchased with real-life money. The time it takes to unlock a new character is fairly substantial if you're playing casually, but it's not a huge deal since the characters often play so similarly to each other. Brawlhalla is completely free to play, and it's a lot of fun with a group of friends or to play a few matches in between other games. I would definitely recommend anybody interested give it a solid try and see how you like it. However, I definitely feel that the game has some solid detriments that will turn a lot of people off that are hoping for something more akin to Super Smash. One of the things I find most exciting about Smash is the wide variety of different characters and playstyles that accompany those characters. If you're a fan of fighting games, you will absolutely find characters in Smash that you love to play, but in Brawlhalla, it is very possible that you don't enjoy the way any of the characters play. Every character in Brawlhalla has access to 3 different fighting styles. They have their unarmed style that they spawn with, and this plays exactly the same as every other character. Then they have 2 different weapons that they will use throughout a match. Each character will only be able to ever use those 2 weapons with no option for customization here. The only differences you can make to your character are some very minor stat readjustments for things such as increasing movement speed at the cost of lowering your defense. During a match, you will find varying power-ups. The most common are the weapons, which appear as fiery pillars on the map. If you lose or throw your weapon, then the next time you pick one up, it will switch to your second weapon. You can use this to your advantage if you'd only prefer using one of your character's fighting styles. This idea in itself may sound interesting, having 3 different stances that every single character can take advantage of. However, it's unfortunately not as fun as it sounds, as the characters all actually share the same few weapons. Currently there are 12 different weapons spread across the 44 different characters. These weapons being the following: blasters, spear, bow, rocket lance, scythe, guitar, sword, axe, hammer, gauntlets, cannon, and the recently added orb. There is also a pretty wide array of cosmetic customization options across all the different characters, including typical things like skins and emotes, and also things much more unique to Brawlhalla, such as knockout effects for when you kill an opponent, or sidekicks, which will be your little flying friend that revives you. As Brawlhalla is a free-to-play game, this is expected, but the vast majority of these cosmetic options do require real-life currency. There are a few different colors you can buy with in-game currency, as well as special colors that can only be earned by playing the ranked mode. Gameplay. No matter what character you are playing, if they have the same weapon as another, every single light attack will function identically to that of another character. A scythe will always swing the same way as another character's scythe. The only difference between characters using the same weapon are their heavy, or signature, attacks. Many times, these signatures will also function fairly similarly to one another, but they will all have different special effects, hitboxes, timings, damage, etc. Even these differences tend to be pretty small, meaning that character choice for casual players tends to just be about which character you like the look of. And the stats often only matter to people that have enough hours to actually notice any difference. I imagine that the character design is this way for a couple reasons. First and foremost, I think this format makes it much easier for Blue Mammoth Games to continue pumping out new characters without needing to take heavy consideration into what that character's abilities will be. The only other notable reason I see the characters being this way is for balance. In games that have a vast amount of different options for abilities and stats, it can certainly be more daunting to ensure that all of them perform equally as well as one another, and that no one character outperforms the majority of the rest. So in Brawlhalla's case, it's much easier to be sure that every 1 vs 1 matchup between characters will be fair, since all the characters perform so similarly to one another. User interface. The UI functions well enough. It's not difficult to find a list of the legends to browse through to see their stats, or to queue yourself into a match. During a match, the UI is pretty minimal, while still showing you all current players' remaining lives and current damage level. To be noted, there are no real settings to be had. The game is locked to 60 FPS, which is typical of a fighting game. You can adjust your display mode and choose from a few different camera options. Controls. The game feels pretty responsive, with no noticeable inconsistencies other than just intended differences between attack timings. Default controls are fine and can be rebound however you prefer, and the game fully supports playing with keyboard and mouse or a controller. Graphics. Brawlhalla carries a cartoony, whimsical theme, with all aspects of the game being fully two-dimensional. Due to this, the game should run perfectly fine on any modern system, which mostly excuses it from the lack of graphical options. Special effects and character attacks are very well animated. Everything I've experienced seems to communicate game functions very well. If I stab a spear towards someone or dive at them with my fists, it's pretty clear where my attack's hitboxes will reach. Audio. Brawlhalla has several different original songs for the menus and various maps. They're all somewhat similar. Orchestral, bouncy, mostly happy. It fits well for the game, but I don't find any of them to be incredible. I quite like the announcer's voice. Sounds different than most other fighting games that go with the deepest, most sinister sounding voice they can find. Sound effects sound fine. Some are pretty satisfying, where others are very whistly and non-impactful. As many characters share the same weapons, some of the sound effects also get quite annoying and repetitive, especially if someone is using the same attacks very often. Final thoughts. Brawlhalla is a good game. It feels a lot like a free version of a Super Smash game, but unfortunately it's missing some of the things that most appeal to me about those games. I still come back to this game every now and again, especially when I have a lot of friends online that just want to chill and play something silly and simple. It's a very easy game to get into, and since it's free, it should be easy to convince your friends to try it too. However, for most people, I don't believe there is enough here for it to keep your attention for a very long time.